going, people? Welcome to the stream. Hope everyone's having fantastic day. Everyone's having fantastic time. It's Wednesday, August the 14th. Transfer window has been open for exactly 2 months now. So the big question is, where are the signings? Where is everyone? And that is the big question everyone at the moment is asking for Edu, for Arsenal, and for everyone else. And on top of that, to be honest, let's be real. Premier League is about... what's happening here? Premier League is... what's happening? I'm all over the place, by the way. I'm legitimately all over the place at the moment. I don't know, OBS is doing some madness here. But anyways, we move. Obviously, Premier League kicks off in, 2 days. Premier League kicks off in 2 days, which at the end of the day means that I decided to do something fun. Genuinely something fun. Try to talk about this, discuss this, and do Premier League predictions for the next season. Not just the teams, that includes also the top scorer, basically Golden Boot and everything, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and all that stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about Arsenal. Obviously, transfers as well is a big thing. 2 days till Premier League kicks off. 3 days till Arsenal kick off Premier League. And at the moment, Arsenal have only signed, Calafiori. Merino is not here. Nketiah is still here. Nelson is still here. And it feels like we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of transfers whatsoever. So, who knows what's going to happen with Arsenal transfers. So, for today's plan, we're going to kick off things with transfers, and then we're going to get into Premier League predictions for the next season, including FA Cup, as I said, Carabao Cup, and other instances as well, that including Arsenal, maybe surprise of the season, and best assister of the season, and stuff like that. But yeah, first things first, we're gonna kick things off with transfers, and we're gonna go from there. Big up at Jerry in the chat. Let's see. If this deal goes through, if Newcastle sign Gehi, there will be legit contenders also for proper top 6, maybe even top 5, if not top 4. It all depends if they get Gehi, because if they get Gehi, their defense will be very solid. Midfield already is very decent, and attack as well, even though they have managed to hold on to Bruno Guimaraes and Isak, of course, as well. It's still 2 weeks in the transfer window, to be honest, so we don't know if Bruno Guimaraes is going to stay, because Man City is still interested in everything. But at the moment, if the deal for Gehi gets accepted and you get Gehi, you are looking in very good shape, if that means that you don't lose any of your players. So it is what it is. We will have to wait and see, basically. But yeah, we're gonna kick things off with transfers, and then we are gonna do the rest of things. Now, first things first, we are kicking things off with Edu Nketiah. Ironically enough, we are kicking things off with Edu Arteta, because yesterday there were photo shoots about Arsenal media in the new kits and everything. Every single player was basically there in the images, except Edu Nketiah, which kind of got the hopes up of many people. But obviously today, Edu Nketiah pictures in the new shirts and new kits and everything also came out, which also kind of leads to believe that Nketiah actually, by the end of the window, might be staying. It's not a good thing. It is not a good thing. Let's be real. 100 grand a week, 5.2 million a year. He has 3 or 4 years left on his deal, 3 years, so nearly 16 million we're gonna spend on him if he stays, potentially. And the more it prolongs, the more it goes on, obviously the value of him decreases, if that's even possible. Arsenal are standing firm on their valuation between 30 to 35 million, and nobody at the moment is willing to match that, which at the end of the day, obviously, is not a great thing. It's not a great thing, because it means if nobody is ready to match that, yeah, it looks like he might be staying. So at the moment, Edu Nketiah's future is really, really, up in there, if that makes sense, because there were links with Bournemouth, but today we haven't heard much about it. Let's be real, there were yesterday some inquiries about him and everything from Bournemouth, but today there has been pretty much nothing in terms of Edu Nketiah leaving Arsenal, which, again, as I said before, is not a great thing. It might mean that he's staying, And then again, just imagine in Champions League you threw on Edu Nketiah as a super sub because he will have to play them if he stays. Because if Jesus gets injured, who's gonna play? Obviously, it will have to be Edu Nketiah as a backup even, so it's not a great thing. Now, in recent days, even recent weeks, there have been talks about Southampton maybe getting Aaron Ramsdale on loan. Same goes for Wolves, who were very interested in taking him on loan as well, maybe in swap deal for Bentley and stuff like that. Maybe Pedro Neto could be included, but Pedro Neto went to Chelsea, so that got thrown out into the trash bin really quickly, and that meant that potentially it might be maybe deal Bentley plus cash or something like that, but it's also not gonna happen. Now, according to reports, Sam Johnston also has made it clear to Crystal Palace that he is exploring and assessing his options. Southampton, Leicester and Wolves have all inquired about his situation, which again kind of takes two people off the market in terms of who could get him, who could get Ramsdale, because Southampton were interested in loan, but it doesn't look it as soon as it showed up in the same pace it gone hella quiet. So that means it's not gonna happen. Wolves as well, as quickly as it got traction, and in the same pace it also went down quiet. Maybe he could have gone to Bournemouth, but Bournemouth, by the way, are maybe getting Mamardashvili from Valencia on loan from Liverpool, which sounds very mad, but Liverpool want to get a replacement for Alisson early. Mamardashvili himself is open to a deal, which means that if Mamardashvili signs for Liverpool, he will go out there for season or even two. There have been reports that it might be a two season loan to Bournemouth, which again in the end means that, yeah, when Alisson leaves, Mamardashvili will become Liverpool's number one. But why we are talking about goalkeepers here is basically the fact that Sam Johnston wants to leave Palace, potentially. He's exploring his options. Southampton were linked with Ramsdale loan. That it looks like if they get Sam Johnston goes quiet. Wolves as well, they want a replacement for Jose Sa, who also has been linked with moves away. And if the Sam Johnston goes there, Ramsdale is no chance going there as well. However, there is the big kicker. If Sam Johnston leaves to Southampton, Leicester, Wolves, wherever, there could be an argument to be made that Crystal Palace actually signs Aaron Ramsdale. That is actually a very far-fetched thing to think about at the moment, because Sam Johnston is still at Crystal Palace. But the fact that it's coming from Fabrizio Romano, and the fact that he has said to Crystal Palace that he's assessing his options, I can see Crystal Palace being a team where if everything falls in line properly, Aaron Ramsdale goes to. Whether it's going to be a loan with obligation to buy, or actually he will be purchased remains to be seen, because Crystal Palace have the money. They have sold Olise, they have sold other players. It looks like they might sell Gehi to Newcastle. There are also talks about the fact that they might sell Anderson, who has been linked with moves away. I think don't remember which club, but the bid was already rejected or something like that. So Crystal Palace are actually in the money. The question is, if Sam Johnston leaves, would Crystal Palace be open to some business? That is the big question here. For me, it would make a lot of sense if Crystal Palace in the end decided to go for Aaron Ramsdale, because for Crystal Palace, the way Glasner plays, how he needs his team, and the fact that Crystal Palace actually has a very solid team. If they find the proper replacements for certain players in certain instances, they actually will do quite great. So if they manage to sell Sam Johnston, and maybe they come in for Arsenal to get Aaron Ramsdale, their team will be set properly. The team will go bang instantly. And I think that would be a great business for them as well. 30 to 35 million for Aaron Ramsdale, given that more or less they're going to sell Sam Johnston for the same price. It actually would be good, because let's be real, Sam Johnston also is England international. He's the third choice keeper. Ramsdale is also in England international, the second choice keeper behind Pickford. Obviously, I'm skipping out Paul because he was injured, and I don't know how it's looking like. As shot stopping, Pope obviously is better, but as in playing out from the back, obviously Ramsdale takes cake in all of those goalkeepers. So it is what it is. But could there be a deal to be struck if Sam Johnston actually leaves to Southampton, Leicester City, or Wolves? Would there be a deal where Crystal Palace comes in for Aaron Ramsdale? Would that be a type of domino effect, as this is the new PR war for this transfer window, where maybe Ramsdale could leave and this actually could fall in line. Could that be the case? Could that be the instance? Because Ramsdale needs to play. He is a number one keeper for the most teams in Premier League as well, for about, I would say, 70-80% of the Premier League. So that would make a lot of sense. The question is, would that move materialize if it came to? Because Arsenal are very weird this transfer window. Hella weird. Obviously, Mikel Arteta has given an interview which said that he needs to set new standards, and those standards would be nice if they would be set, but it's all up in the air. What will be the standards? Because the only standard that should be set right now is winning trophies. Because there's nowhere else for Mikel Arteta to go at the moment. He has finished twice second, and he has binned all the cups possible. So that means that if he says that this season Arsenal need to set new standards, only standards they can set, realistically, is winning. Winning big, winning honors, winning trophies. And there is no way back from that. So that remains to be seen whether Arsenal are actually gonna win anything, because we're gonna talk about that in the second part of the video, of the stream, where we're gonna do Premier League predictions, where we're gonna talk about FA Cup winners and the Carabao Cup winner predictions and everything. But yeah, who knows what's gonna happen there. In other news, Ivan Toney, who was previously linked with Arsenal, Brentford are holding out for at least 60 million still, that's according to Miguel Delaney, for Ivan Toney, who is being monitored by Chelsea and Manchester United. On top of that, today news came out that maybe Saudi Arabia, a team from Saudi, could go for him. Apparently they were offering him about 16 million a season, which comes to about 350,000 a year. A week for Ivan Toney. Now, Ivan Toney at the moment at Brentford earns about £30,000. 30 grand only. And if he goes to Saudi, he earns more or less 12 times that. Not 12, 11, a bit more than 11 and a half times that, which sounds hella mad, but obviously he's not the youngest. If he wants to earn the bag, there's no shadow of a doubt that he will go and choose Saudi. However, if there's any inkling that he wants to compete, he will go to Premier League or other big team in the end. The question is, will he do that? Because next season, this is the last year of his contract. Next season, his contract runs out, and then the world is his oyster, basically. Because especially if he has a good season at Brentford, he can go to basically any team he can imagine in Premier League, especially, and say, I'm a free agent. You have to, if you want to sign me, you have to pay me that, with these and these add-ons. You need to pay me this signing on fee, and this kind of money needs to go to my agent. He can easily do that next summer if he doesn't move this summer specifically. So Ivan Toney deal is actually very, very interesting. It remains to be seen what's going to happen, because Chelsea are monitoring the situation, as it says here, United as well, and of course Saudi as well has come in with an offer, so potentially will come in an offer. So it will be very interesting because he's actually a very decent striker. Now, here is the case. We talked about Ramsdale, that he might potentially leave. There have been links with loans. Arsenal yesterday rejected a loan from Ajax. We just talked about the fact that Sam Johnstone from Crystal Palace is exploring his options, and obviously Southampton, Leicester City, and Wolves are interested because they all need proper goalkeepers. If Sam Johnstone leaves Crystal Palace, that opens a space for a proper goalkeeper to go to Palace. And that means that maybe, just maybe, there is a world where they will look at Aaron Ramsdale. There is a world where they might do that. And if he leaves, apparently, according to reports, Arsenal are eyeing a move for Juan Garcia from Espanyol, who they just got promoted from La Liga 2 into La Liga in the main league. And they're an Arsenal like that are preparing for Ramsdale's departure. His current release clause are 21.4 million. Reports in Spain say that his figure is due to increase to 25.7 million tomorrow on Thursday, and apparently it goes up to nearly 30 or 32 million when he debuts in La Liga for Espanyol. Obviously the big leagues are starting to slowly kick off, especially this week, Premier League next week as well, La Liga as well this week kicks off, which means that if he's not signed by the end of this week, his release clauses apparently will go up to 30 plus million. Which at the end of the day means that Arsenal, if they go for Juan Garcia as a backup, will have another goalkeeper, which means they will have spent another 30 million on a goalkeeper. Arsenal spent 25, 26 on Ramsdale, 30 to Raya, and now they might spend actually another 30 if Ramsdale leaves on Juan Garcia, which seems kinda mad if you think about it. That in 3 years you spend 90 million to replace goalkeepers. And I genuinely feel that there is this thing that Arteta hasn't forgiven himself for letting Emi Martinez potentially go. Because I don't see a world and reason, like logistic reason, for Mikel Arteta to, in his tenure in nearly 5 years at Arsenal, to sign 7 different goalkeepers. 7 different goalkeepers to sign. I legitimately don't see a world where that is the case, and that is actually the reasoning. I actually don't see a world why. And that is the weird part with this. Because Arsenal are targeting another backup goalkeeper, and we have signed already 6 or 7 goalkeepers. Not including actually the young goalkeepers like Lucas Nygaard and Tommy Setford. It's actually mad. It's really, really mad how many goalkeepers and defenders we have signed under Mikel Arteta. We have spent, I think, most of the money on signing our defense and midfield, and we have spent the least amount of money on our attack. Because if you think about it, we have Arteta, the forwards Arteta has purchased are basically Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard, and Marquinhos. Marquinhos should have been free, but we threw 3 million on top to keep good relations with Sao Paulo, which is pathetic, but here we are. And that means that on attack, Arsenal overall have spent only nearly 100 million. Nearly 100 million. From the 750 million they have spent overall under Mikel Arteta, which means 650 million have been spent on midfield, defense, and goalkeepers. How mad is that? Genuinely how mad, because we spent 105 on Rice, 65 on Kai Havertz. Now, if you ask why I count Kai Havertz as a midfielder, because he came in as a midfielder. Those were Mikel Arteta's words himself, that he has been signed to play in the midfield. But for the first half of the season last year, he didn't work in midfield properly. So Arteta basically decided to throw him up top because he had no other choice where to put him. Because other only options were then defense, left back, where he played a few games for Germany. And that was about it. So realistically to think about it, Arteta has signed only 3 forwards and spent nearly 100 million on those 3 together. About 45 on Jesus. I think about 25 it was on Trossard, which is about 670. And then 3 to Marquinhos, so it's not even 100 nearly. It's nearly 75 million only, which is wild. Which genuinely is wild. But if Ramsdale leaves, at the end of the day, it means that Arsenal will most likely go for Juan Garcia, another goalkeeper that will cost them 30 million or so. This club is just pathetic in my opinion. In this way, how they are running their business. Which business runs this way? Which business just doesn't invest properly in one big player, gets him a backup, and then just go for there? But then almost every single year, they change their main guy like socks. It makes no sense. It makes legitimately no sense. Alisson Becker have only 1 year on the contract and we want to sign no name for 21 million. Exactly, that is the case. Like, Alisson has 1 year. I would assume he has maybe a 1 year option to extend the contract. Hence why they're trying to sign Mamardashvili and then loan him out to Bournemouth for 1 or 2 seasons. Which makes a lot of sense, let's be real. They're preparing for Alisson to leave, maybe to Saudi, wherever. The thing is, this 21.4 million is at the moment. On Thursday, which is basically tomorrow, it's 26 nearly million. And according to more reports from Spain, as soon as he debuts in La Liga, right, for Espanyol, those release clauses allegedly go up to about 30 to 32 million. Which means if Arsenal basically don't sign him by when Espanyol is playing. When is Espanyol playing? Let's look at this. Espanyol is playing on Monday, August 19th. Which means against Valladolid. Ironically, they play against Arsenal's goalkeeper Karl Hein. Potential Arsenal's future goalkeeper in Juan Garcia is playing a current Arsenal goalkeeper Karl Hein. Mad. But potentially, by Monday, his release clauses, if he plays there, could actually be about 30 million then. It is actually insane. We Arsenal are finished. We legitimately are finished. We are in such a big dump, and I don't mean as in overall, but we are in such a big swamp that we are not getting out of it. We are in quicksand, basically. The more we try to move, the deeper we sink. And the more we money try to spend to fix the issues we spend it incompetently, which means we move erratically, which at the end of the day means we are sinking even more. Until we start to move in the one direction properly, we're gonna sink all the time. All the freaking time. Exactly. And we still need a striker. Striker is still needed. We need a backup for Bukayo Saka. Okay, you may think that Jesus can play that role, right? But at the moment, the silence on Reece Nelson's part means that we might actually go in the next season with Reece Nelson as a backup for Bukayo Saka. Not sure what's going to happen with Edu Nketiah. He might actually stay at the club this summer, and we will have Edu Nketiah to have to live with him till January at least. So it's not looking great. It's not looking great at all. We spend on keepers almost 100 million and don't have a strong number one with top UCL experience and exactly, that's the thing. We have spent insane amount of money on goalkeepers. And we have signed some weird ass goalkeepers like Runnerson, Matt Ryan, Matt Turner. Obviously there's Raya, there's Ramsdale, there is I'm missing one. I am Runnerson. It's insane. And we binned off arguably the best goalkeeper we have had in recent years, which at the end of the day is Emi Martinez, who since he has left Arsenal has won World Cup, 2 Copa Americas, and is winning trophies left, right, and center. It's actually wild. Exactly, and with those 100 million, we could have signed Magnan, we could have signed Oblak, we could have signed whichever goalkeeper pretty much we want, besides Ederson, Alisson, and I would say Ter Stegen and Neuer. Besides those 4, we could have signed any goalkeeper we want in the world. We could have signed Diogo Costa from Porto, also a very good goalkeeper. And for the future, he's like 23, 24. We could have easily signed him as well. That's the thing. We have spent almost 100 million on goalkeepers alone. We have spent 73 to 75 million on attackers under Mikel Arteta alone. Rest of the money of the, let's just say that's 175 million. Let's just say the 580 million, the rest of the money more or less, has gone to defense and midfield alone. How wasteful actually are we if you think about it? In preseason, Saka looked tired, it scares me. Well, let's be real. He played about 60 games in the season. Then he went to Euros with England and went till the finals. Then he joined Arsenal in obviously in UK, and he had 2-3 weeks off, which means, well, he had a month off, which means he's not gonna be the best of forms. He needs about 3-4 games to actually get into pace again, because he was working individually, he wasn't playing with the team in preseason, he wasn't training in preseason with the squad, which means he will look off. He will look off. There's no shadow of a doubt about that. The thing is, the games are so jam-packed that nearly every week you have to play 1 or 2 games. Especially when you play Champions League. For Arsenal, it's 2 games a week, right? Then you put in the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, you have to play 3 games a week, especially with Champions League and everything. And if we don't have proper backups for Saka, Odegaard, Declan Rice, Saliba, even at this stage, you could argue if Ramsdale leaves and we don't have proper backup for Raya, we are screwed. We need the depth. And at the moment, we have nada. Legitimately, we have nada. Big up Pepper in the chat. Big up, big up, big up. Anyways, moving on from Juan Garcia. Sick of tired of talking about him. Good news. If there are any good news this transfer window so far, Jurrien Timber is back in the first full team training. Apparently he's feeling much better, and the medical staff have cleared him to train with the team, and he will be available for the game against Wolves, allegedly. This is the only good news I have heard about Arsenal this weekend, by the way. This week. Only good news. We are in Wednesday, and these are the only good news I have heard about Arsenal. That Timber is back in training. How mad is that? Just got out of work. How's it going? What have I missed? Well, We can look at, we can share you some highlights. Edu Nketiah wasn't pictured in preseason images, but today the pictures came out, so he most likely is staying, so that is, well, good, I guess. Haha, lol. This is the big one. Sam Johnstone has told Crystal Palace that he is exploring assessing his options, which I'm thinking, personally, if he goes to one of these teams, there's a massive opening in Crystal Palace for Ramsdale to be signed. That is my thought process here. Southampton wanted Ramsdale, it got turned down. Let's be real, they're not going to pay his wages. Wolves were somewhat interested with potential swap deals and everything, but it never materialized into anything. Those are just strictly rumors. And Leicester cannot afford him. Let's get that out of the way. But if Palace sells Sam Johnstone to one of these teams, they have the money to get Aaron Ramsdale and have a proper goalkeeper. So that is my hope for this transfer window. My hope for transfer window that maybe Ramsdale, if Sam Johnstone leaves, goes to Crystal Palace. Oh, Mikel Arteta has spoken in an interview. By the way, I have to do this. He said that Arsenal have to have new standards. Arsenal need to have standards, as it was said there. Set new standards, and Arsenal need to do everything. He was talking about thermometers, heating, temperatures, and everything. It's actually wild. There's pickpockets, planting trees, heat, cooking, new targets. It's like he's Ronald McDonald or something. Genuinely. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, we have to set new standards. There are no new standards to set, because the only standard you can set for the team at the moment is to win. You have binned all the possible trophies, you have come second twice in the Premier League, and you have won 1 out of 18 obtainable trophies that you had at your disposal while you have been at Arsenal in your tenure in almost 5 years. So there are no new standards. Only standard is win the trophies this year, or you have to go. That's it. And we talked about Juan Garcia and Timbers back in training. So nothing in that regard too much to catch up on, basically. Cheers. So many content football guys are saying they think Arsenal will win the Premier League. I think we are no way close to winning the Premier League. The standard should have been that high last 2 years. Well, let's just say this. 2 years ago, the standard should have been top 4. I agree with that, because we never had done that. We balled it year before and everything. Nobody had nobody in their right mind would have predicted that we would challenge for the league the way we did. 8 points clear, and then Saliba got injured and we fumbled the bag. And everything. Last season, though, our standard should have been winning at least one of the cups. At least one, and finishing minimum second and continue to challenge for the league. We challenged for the league, nearly won it, by the way. We finished in quarterfinals in Champions League, we stunk our way till there, but we binned all the cups again. Last season was the season when we should have at first won FA Cup or Carabao Cup, one of the cups. Now this season, because of all this stupidity we have done and incompetence, there is no way back for me. You have to win cups, trophies, league, and everything. Well, maybe not everything. You don't have to do a quadruple or anything, but at least you need to win Carabao Cup and FA Cup plus challenge in the Premier League, or you need to win FA Cup, maybe win the Premier League and get semi-finals in Champions League. You need to show more improvements. In Premier League, only improvement at the moment is winning it. Champions League is semi-finals or finals, obviously, or winning it. In the cups, we haven't done anything. We have gone out in 3rd or 4th round every single year besides the year we won it, when Arteta had Emery's and Wenger's inherited squad, when he played completely different tactics that he's playing right now with completely different formations and completely different team. So, yeah, it's win or go bust basically this season. And if we don't win anything this season, next season we will see a decline in the team. And if that starts to happen, Real Madrid will take Saliba, someone will take Martinelli, someone will take Saka. They will get picked off like apples from an apple tree. Real quick. Let's be real quick, because there's actually a very good quality in this squad. Mikel Merino. Daily Mikel Merino continues in this channel and in Arsenal's life. In the last few hours, Arsenal submitted their opening bid offer. Arsenal finally, after a month of negotiations, have submitted a bid for Mikel Merino. Seems nice. However, the first offer was rejected. Shock, isn't it? Tell me the last time Arsenal's bid was accepted with the first time they put an offer in. Tell me the last time. And that was reported at midday UK time, 12 p.m. Now, Fabrizio said, this was a few days ago, and then he said negotiations are continuing, there are contact and everything, and yeah, and it's been said that he's on the radar, nothing new, and here it is. Arsenal and Real Sociedad are in contact for weeks now. For weeks! It's more than a month, by the way. More than a month. Formal bid part of process after long verbal talks over the deal. Similar to Calafiori, historic clubs negotiating best solution. Merino wants Arsenal. Contract 100% agreed. He's binned off Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, everyone. He just wants Arsenal, basically. However, here is the thing. Arsenal's first bid being rejected. And this is the kicker here. The big kicker. Real Sociedad have rejected first offer worth just over 30 million euros from Arsenal for the proposed transfer of Mikel Merino. Although talks are continuing between the clubs, Real Sociedad are holding out for 35 million. So just like with Calafiori, Arsenal are haggling over 5 million. Again, they are all haggling over 5 million. Especially less than that, by the way, because it was just over 30 million, so it could be 30.5, 30.2, 30.7, which means Arsenal are actually haggling for less than 5 million euro difference in Mikel Merino's valuation, which is actually wild, if you think about it. And on top of that, if that wasn't enough, by the way, here it is. Edu is understood to be prioritizing the signing of central midfielder with Mikel Merino as the lead target. Arsenal are also open to attacking reinforcements. Who the hell are the reinforcements here? Either a wide forward or striker. Which sounds good in theory after Merino. However, there is always a but with Arsenal. And I'm not talking about Kim Kardashian here. Any move is likely to be dependent on outgoings, which means we might sign Merino, potentially, but we are not seeing a forward, a striker, unless Arsenal sell, and I would assume here more than one player, Edu Nketiah and Ramsdale and Nelson, or one of those two. I don't see it otherwise. I legitimately don't see that otherwise. And of course, David Ornstein also on top of that was said Arsenal are stepping up their efforts. Edu flew to Spain this week, to pursue an agreement. To pursue what agreement? Your bid just got rejected, my guy. What you can't pursue there? And it is what it is. It's actually wild how this is going. This transfer is just sucking the exactly. Legitimate. It is that way. It's, you know how Arsenal, when usually teams sign a player, you are excited, you are hyped, you want to see him in your team, you want to see him play for your club, you want to see him in action and everything, right? But with Arsenal, it takes about a month and a half to sign a player, and you follow that deal daily pretty much, as we all do, let's be real. And by the end of that, when he actually signs the paper, the contract, right? You are, well, what else is new? On to the next one. Because it feels like he's been at Arsenal already for that month and a half. The amount of times we have submitted a bid, the bid has been rejected, the personal terms have been agreed, he has flown to the city to talk to him, the deal has been agreed upon, the Arsenal are interested in everything. You have heard about it so much that there legitimately is no hype. Because remember the hype when we signed Alexis Sanchez, or Aubameyang, or Mesut Ozil. There was bigger hype when we signed Yuri and Timber, by the way. because he came out of nowhere than signing most of the deals this summer. Now we are dragging these deals out for 6 years, it feels like, and all the hype and excitement for the new player pretty much is gone. It's all gone. Yes, you want to see him to play for your club, but there isn't that, yes, let's go, we have signed the right player and everything. There is no excitement, let's be real. By the way, Mikel Merino in this instance, right? I'm not too excited because he's not the player that elevates Arsenal's team to a different level. But at the end of the day, it's something. We are signing a midfielder who is like Granit Xhaka 2.0, but at the end of the day, what's the point in getting rid of Granit Xhaka? Yet at the same time, Granit Xhaka was in the Arsenal's team, we never qualified for Champions League until the last year when he binned him off before the Champions League. It's actually wild. Arsenal takes so long to do the deals that there is no excitement whatsoever once the player signs. That's it. That is it. I'm at the point where I actually don't want any signings. I want us to go into the season like now, so people can see how incompetent these guys driving the bus are. Well, that's another way to look at it, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of depressing way to look at it as well. And quite evil as well in a way, I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, for me at the moment, as much as we need a number 8, it doesn't matter whether we sign Mikel Merino or we don't. Because he, for me, doesn't change much in Arsenal's team. It's a position we need to improve. I'm not saying that we don't. But it's a player that basically, it is what it is. It's a necessary signing, but it's not also a player I'm getting overly excited about. It's similar like with Calafiori. Yes, we need a left back and everything, but for me, it's not a priority at the moment. For me, priority is to sign a striker and a backup for Bukayo Saka, then sign a midfielder, and then you can pay attention to your defense. Because we already had the best defense in the league last year. Yes, we need depth and everything. Because at the moment, it's legitimately all over the place. I have no idea what is going on. We need a strong start to the season to build momentum. Yeah, you know, yo, BX Gunner, have you seen the schedule for Arsenal? How the first 10 to 13 games of the season look? Because if the title could be done by then, by those games already. It could be already done by then, by the way. Let me know if you have seen, it's actually wild. Not even 100 million Declan went. Yeah, that's the thing. Declan Rice signing was quicker actually than signing Merino and everyone. Crystal Palace let Margehi leave. Crystal Palace for Newcastle, bargain grew the sign. Newcastle. Yeah, if they leave, they leave. Yeah, our season could be over by game week 12. And I'm not being negative here, actually. You may say I'm toxic and negative and all that crap, but I'm not. I'm just looking at this realistically. Because at the moment in this transfer window, we have done nothing. I can't say we've done nothing, but we haven't done anything and haven't done enough to justify the fact that Arsenal will do anything this season. No signings, no sales, no nothing. And that is the mad part. And here is something that was written about, I think, by Ornstein in Athletic. As was the case with Calafiori, Arsenal are likely to want assurance for a significant departure before they can proceed to the final stages of any deal for Merino. But we sold Emil Smith-Rowe allegedly. We got told once we sell a midfielder will come in. So was that all a lie? In Calafiori's case, Arsenal only progressed the signing towards completion once they had fully reached a broad agreement with Fulham over the sale of Emil Smith-Rowe. So turns out we got lied to, because we got told as soon as we sell a midfielder will come in. But turns out, I would say at least half of Emil Smith-Rowe's money has gone to Calafiori signing. Which means we don't have money to sign Mikel Merino now. Because if we was pound per pound, Emil Smith-Rowe's money covers Merino's money. You could basically 27 million pounds. It covers each other out. It balances each other out. But here it turns out that Calafiori's money has been Emil Smith-Rowe. Hello? What is this now? As things stand, the likeliest player to make way for Merino is Edu Nketiah, so unless we sell Eddie, we are not signing Merino. Although a move to Marseille has fallen through, there is interest from the 25-year-old from elsewhere, including Bournemouth, who are looking for a replacement of Dominik Solanke. So basically, what you're saying here in the third paragraph, in the first sentence, that as things stand, the likeliest player to make way for Merino is Edu Nketiah, you are saying that we are not signing Merino because we cannot sell Eddie fucking Nketiah, basically. That's what you're saying now. Because all the money from Smith-Rowe has gone to Calafiori, which means we have no money for Merino, and the reason we cannot sign Merino is because Edu, in his goddamn flippin' mind, didn't accept 27 million euro offer for Edu Nketiah from Marseille, which at the end of the day means that Arsenal, in this instance, would be just 8 million euros short of signing Merino if we actually sold Edu Nketiah when Edu had the bloody chance. Man, this Edu Gaspar needs to go, brother. He needs to go, and he needs to go fucking fast. We were all over this hard fixture run on June, but now reality is dawning on some of those positive fans. A big shock. Exactly, that is the case. The reality hits you like a rock, and it hits you fast when it happens. And that will not be a very pleasant sight. Let's be real. It won't be. I'm looking at, well, Nando's as a threat. Their attacking options are better than ours now. Yeah, but they have no midfield. The thing about Spurs is, Spurs can sign any attackers they want, but since they have no midfield and midfield controls the games, they will not do much. Their defense is also a bit questionable, so it remains to be seen what's gonna happen, but yeah, their midfield and defense, they're crap, basically. That's the case. It's legitimately crap. The table will look settled by the 15th game. Hopefully we are first or second. Yeah, that's the thing. Hopefully. Because the fixtures we have, and the fact that in forced 14 games, the only home game against the big six that we have is Liverpool at home. And in the midst of things, we have to play Villa away again. Bournemouth, Newcastle away is not a great look. In the first month of Premier League, we have to go to Spurs Stadium, then we have a Champions League game, and then we have to go to Etihad. 3 away games potentially in a row. It's not gonna be pretty if we don't sign at least 2-3 more players right now. Exactly right now. It's not gonna be a good look at the end of the season. Even by then, to be honest, by that time, it's not gonna be a good look. If Nando's finish above us, that might, it won't cause fans to wake up. It will cause riots. Although, knowing our fan base, there will be about 50 million excuses. There will be about 50 million excuses why, when, how, and everything. I already can see that. And yeah, thankfully Spud's defense is crap. And midfield as well. It's actually kind of wild if you think about it. It's actually hella wild. We talked about that. We talked about that. And that looks like it's gonna be it. Which means we can proceed to second part of today's stream, which is Premier League predictions. If you want, we can do this together, or we can do it separately. Whichever way you want, basically. How it's gonna go is basically we're gonna pick teams, alphabetical order, and we're gonna put them in the places I think or we think they're gonna finish. The closer you are to the left side of the tab, of the row, the higher you are on the table, basically. You will be second if you are closer to the orange, basically the square. If you are further apart, you'll be third or you will be fourth. Depends how you look at it, basically. We're gonna get into that right about now. We need to win most of those first 10 to 12 games. Any drop points at once? Does anyone really? To be honest, in the first 10 to 12 games, to win the league, we need to win 11 of those games. Only game where I can accept a draw in any way, shape, or form is Etihad. That's the only place. Because if we win at Etihad by some weird freaking miracle, and we go to lose to someone like, I don't know, Ipswich Town, it makes all the win at Etihad irrelevant and useless. So at the end of the day, we need to win the first 10 out of 11 or 11 out of 12 games. And that's the case. Arsenal, City, United, Villa, Chelsea, West Ham, Newcastle top 7. Arsenal, City, United, Villa, Chelsea, West Ham. No Liverpool. Interesting. No Liverpool. Interesting. Anyways, this is the way I see the top 4. And I'm gonna get crucified for this potentially, but here we go. Top 4. City the champions. Arsenal second. Liverpool will finish third. And Newcastle will finish fourth if they sign Gehi. That is for me, if they sign Gehi. Otherwise, I am putting Aston Villa there. But mostly, if they can manage the load in Champions League. That is my top 4. That is my top 4. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa. 5th, 6th in Europa League. I think it will be Newcastle and Manchester United. Your Conference League, I give it to Spurs. I'm giving it to Spurs, the Nandos, the Spuds, the Ange Postecoglou and everything. That's my top 7 at the moment. I think Newcastle. So, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs. So you think Liverpool will overtake Arsenal? The thing that's worrying me about Liverpool is they have aging backline. Their left back is hella injured in Robertson. Not sure what's gonna happen with Alisson. Trent cannot defend. And despite their youngsters being great in defense, their midfield is lacking quite a bit. They don't have a proper number 6. They will have to play Endo and McAllister again. Szoboszlai might even play in that 8 role, which is not ideal for them. Attack with Salah, if he stays fit, he will carry the team. Diaz depends how he fits into things. And let's be real, Darwin Noodles, if he could finish, it would be a different story. But since he cannot finish, I'm very up in there. Oh, you think we'll have an injury crisis? I can see that. That's the case. I can see that, given that last season we genuinely got scar-free. We avoided every single injury imaginable for our main guys. Basically starting 11. Ow. That is the case. If we keep all players fit, we finish. Well, I think we're gonna finish above them either way. I think Liverpool, as good as they are lacking still. Yes, it's good to get in the hype with what's their manager, the slot ball and everything, but they are lacking in midfield, and that is a big worry for me, especially if some of their players get injured and everything. Salah isn't the youngest. If he gets injured, they're instantly screwed. So we'll see. I think second and third, yeah, that's the case. That is the case, but I think Arsenal edges it. Now, 8th to 12th, and this is the big one. I'm putting... Well, we played last season without Partey and that went well, so who knows? Genuinely, who knows? I'm putting West Ham 8th, although West Ham could actually fight for Europa places, by the way. They have had pretty much for West Ham, they have had a 10 out of 10 window. I would say that West Ham, for West Ham standards, has had a 10 out of 10 window. Yeah, Partey is a huge question mark. To be honest, so is Jesus, Martinelli, Tomiyasu. We don't know what's gonna happen with Simba. It's like, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. He cannot genuinely. At some point, he has to give. Same goes for Saka. We've been saying that for Saka for years, by the way. But at some point, Saka will give as well. At some point. It's just inevitable, basically. Anyways, back to predictions. Hatui. Giving 8th to West Ham. For West Ham standards, I think they have had 10 out of 10 window. In generally, I'm not even exaggerating. I think Chelsea will be 9th. Villa, as you say, you think Villa will fall down to 7th. For me, Villa can finish either 4th, basically 4th to 7th, based on injuries and how they manage the Champions League load. Because when Unai Emery is at the wheel, he tends to focus on cups quite a bit because he's definitely a distinct cup manager. And the teams, whenever they play well in cups, tend to maybe drop down a bit in the league. Only reason I'm putting him here that high is the fact that the way he played last season, and the fact that all of these teams also have Europa Leagues, Champions Leagues, and everything. And on top of that, they haven't done much. They don't convince me that they can do it. Plus, for example, United have Erik ten Hag, so who can do that? 8th, 9th, 10th, I think it's gonna be Brighton. 9, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 11, 12. 11, 12. I think Palace, yeah. Palace will definitely be that 10 to 11. They will be proper mid-table team now. And the last one for me... I'm gonna put Bournemouth there. I think Bournemouth could have a very good season if they do things properly. They have the things to do so they can do it. Now, 13th, I'm gonna put Brentford. Wolves gonna be 14th. Fulham. I'm putting Forest there. Then I'm putting Fulham. And I'm putting there Everton. Everton is a very weird one because Everton might start the season with point deductions due to breaching PSR rules and everything. So I have no idea what's gonna happen with Everton. How many points they might get deducted and everything. That's why that one is up in the air for me. I have no idea how to put them in properly. And obviously, the 3 teams that are going down for me are the teams that are getting promoted. Got just promoted. No, it's not a very exciting thing. It's not a very happy thing and very positive or imaginative thing. But I strongly believe that is the case in this instance. The other big thing about all of this is we legitimately cannot forget the fact that next month starts the hearing for Manchester City's 115 charges. The expected verdict on the hearing and everything is being expected very early next year, so January, February. Maybe even before this year ends. And that is the big thing. What's gonna happen there? Because they might get through it with just paying fines and maybe some point deductions. Then the question is how much, or they can completely get booted out of the league already then. And that is the big thing that's also is up in the air for me. What's gonna happen with that? You think Leicester will stay up? The thing is, I can see Leicester staying up, but only in the case, arguably, if Everton get done over with PSR. If they start, let's just say, season on minus 10 points, I think they're screwed instantly. But the thing about everything in this instance is, again, that all these teams like Everton's, Fulham's, Bournemouth, Brentford's, they know how to stay up. They have already, under Sean Dyche as well, they know how to grind out the games to get the necessary points to reach the mark when you stay up. That is also the big case for me. I'm not happy that Southampton is back, by the way. Remember the last time we tangled with Southampton? We drew in the league, we lost in the league to them, and we won in the cup against them. Similarly like we did against Fulham last season. We drew against them and we lost against them. I'm not happy about this Southampton thing being back, by the way. I'm happy Vardy gets one last crack in the Prem to add some goals to his tally. To be honest, Vardy is one of those guys who is a very late bloomer and has made the best out of it. Because him being a late bloomer, one of the main reasons why they won the Premier League, obviously under Ranieri with Huth, with Conte, Mahrez, Fuchs, Schmeichel, everyone in the team. It was something beautiful to watch, I'm not gonna lie. Even though they screwed us out of the cup and we were the only team in the Premier League that season that won both games against Leicester City, we still lost the league. That year was the year when we had to win the league. But we, as always, managed to ball it somehow. Southampton are a bogey team. As soon as Leeds ball it against them, I said, we are not winning the league. But something like that. That's legit something like that. Because Southampton, we done us over. Not sure what's going to happen with Fulham. How we going to do against them next season. Everton also is a very bogey team for us away. We never seem to do good there. Yes, we have won in the last year specifically. But at the same time... Sorry, my camera went down. At the same time, it was a very beautiful, perfect goal by Trossard. If we didn't score that, we drawed the game and we get a draw there. Legitimately. This will happen again. They did this. Exactly. 1-1 and 3-3. Did we draw both games? I swear I thought we lost one game against Southampton. I swear I thought we lost one of those games at Southampton, just like we did against Fulham. Yeah, you put 1-1 and that threw me off. Because I know there was a 3-3 and I think we lost 2-1, didn't we? It was similar like we did with Fulham. We drew at home, we drew and we lost. Wait. Yeah, 1-1 and 3-3. 1-1 and 3. I'm thinking about the loss. It was the previous season, 1-0. My bad, I messed that up. I was thinking about the previous season. Yeah. 1-1 and 3-3. So basically, Fulham, Everton and Southampton. All the teams we have are bogey teams, which is not a great thing. So these are my Premier League predictions. But all depends also, in this instance, do Everton get point deductions, and if they do, how much? What's gonna happen with Manchester City hearing? And yeah, that is it. Because Aston Villa could easily finish between 4th and 7th in that range, depending how they manage the load. And Arsenal's biggest worry this season, despite the fact that we have not signed anyone pretty much this transfer window, is injuries. Because last season, as we talked about already, we avoided almost every single injury possible to the main guys, because most players that got injured were backup dancers, if that makes sense. Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, also Martinelli, and Emil Smith-Rowe, they are not the main guys. The question is, what's going to happen if Saka gets injured, if Odegaard gets injured, if Declan Rice gets injured? Partey was out the whole season pretty much last year as well. Those are the big questions. Saliba, Gabriel, what happens if they get injured? Those are the big questions we still don't have answers for. Because 2 years ago, we all saw what happened when Saliba got injured against Lisbon Sporting. Our season came tumbling down like I don't know, the walls of Jericho pretty much. We had to play Rob Holding there. We went to Etihad, we got pumped 4-1. Ironically, Holding scored the only goal and everything. It was all over the place. We legit crumbled after that. So there are more questions than answers again. We start the season in 2 days. We still haven't done the necessary things we need to do. We haven't addressed the issues that needed to be addressed, and we haven't done that for about 8-9 years already in a row. And then still, like after every single transfer window, with Arsenal especially, there still are more questions than answers. And that is a massive, massive issue. And I have no idea what's gonna happen. But yeah, these are my predictions for Premier League this season. We can do quickly top goal scorer for Arsenal, for example, top assister for Arsenal and everything. Carabao, FA Cup winners. We can do that as well if you want. That is also the big question. We're starting Zinchenko at left back most likely. Yeah, I strongly believe so. I think the team we saw against Lyon that started most likely will be the team that's gonna start against Wolves on Saturday. That's my prediction also for the first game. For me, the FA Cup is gonna be won by Man City, in my opinion. Top G's, Gabriel Gabriel Saliba. But yeah, I think FA Cup is gonna be won by Man City. Carabao Cup, I'm gonna put it out there just because I can. I think it will be West Ham. Carabao Cup might be won by West Ham. Emery might win the cup as well. I think that he might get the Carabao Cup, definitely. Because nobody takes Carabao Cup seriously. Emery is the one that takes the cup seriously. Definitely. Arsenal are set piece FC. Because I think... How many goals? I think about 6 or 7 goals this pre-season from about 10 or 11 we scored. We scored from free kicks. Not free kicks, set pieces. Last season as well, we scored the most goals from set pieces. You really believe that teams in Premier League are not gonna get ready for that? They're not gonna scout how Jover is doing the set piece situations, how they did it last year. Arsenal will need to throw there something new and everything. We cannot afford to that, because even though we can create good chances, we have nobody to finish them on consistent basis. And that is the big worry every season. It was last season before that, and also this season. The season we finished second first time, 2 years ago, it was, we don't need a striker, we spread the goals around. Last season, when we went 1-7 in December, in January interview, Arteta said, what can we do? Unfortunately, we couldn't finish the chances we had to finish. We don't have a number 9. We don't? Then Jesus on top of that comes out and says that scoring goals isn't his main priority, isn't his main trait. And now we are 1 year later, transfer window closes in 2 weeks, and we have still the same issue. We haven't signed a striker. We don't have a clinical finisher. Make it make sense. If it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. And we are back here again. Every single year. It legit took us about 10 years to replace Patrick Vieira, if not even more. We signed Thomas Partey, you could argue that. Arsenal always had great strikers, but we haven't had one since Aubameyang. Golden Boot winning Aubameyang, by the way. Arteta ruined that as well. No striker actually has succeeded under Mikel Arteta, if you come to think of it. Like, realistically. Because he's had Lacazette, Aubameyang in his arguably prime, if you will. Because Emery got Aubameyang and Lacazette cooking like no tomorrow. Arteta made them play CDM, left wing back and everything, and it ruined them instantly. No striker has succeeded under Mikel Arteta, if you come to think of it. He actually hasn't signed a proper striker as well, if you think about it. Only 3 forwards, Marquinhos, Trossard and Jesus, so it is what it is at the end of the day. I wish some of our players would just shut their mouths rather than spew verbal vomit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he absolutely ruined himself. With that interview, Ramsdale put a big red cross over his career at Arsenal. But hey ho, it is what it is. But anyways, guys, I think on that note, I'm gonna end it here. As you can see, that it's getting quite dark and I don't want to turn on the lights. Lol. But anyways, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, smash a thumbs up. All the best, all the good. Take care. Hope you're having a great week. You have been fantastic. Had great fun talking with you guys, chatting and everything. You have been phenomenal with your support. Take care. Stay safe. Have an amazing evening. Have a great Thursday tomorrow. Enjoy your day and enjoy, by the way, UEFA Super Cup today. Real Madrid versus Atalanta. I hope you're gonna be watching because I'm definitely gonna watch that. My prediction: 3-1 Real Madrid win.